Yep, something here don't look right. I think it's pretty obvious what it is. Yep, flat as flat can be. Check that out. I think that wheel would be sitting on the ground if it weren't for a few thin strips of late rubber.
And you know, as I understand it, that's typical of these beadlocks. Penny's been run through a lot of water, a lot of mud, a lot of those things, and I have a feeling that she doesn't actually have a problem with the tire itself. She's got a problem with the beadlock. I don't know which side, if the ring or the back side is what's having the issue, but basically what needs to happen is these dirty lifes need to get dismounted, checked out, and make sure that anything that needs to be cleaned gets cleaned. Now, this is my first set of beadlocks. I've never done this before. So, of course, YouTube. Muddy Beards 4x4 has an awesome video. I will actually put a card up right up there. And it really gave me the confidence to do what I need to do in investigating what the problem with this is. It's not difficult. It's just that these are 40s and they take a bit. Now, I'm in the middle of a grass field. So I am going to put some air in this, and then once I do that, I'll drive it over to the shop, and that will give me a nice shaded place, a little bit better place to actually work on this. So let's get started.
One of the best teachers out there is experience. And I did this wrong. I left the pad on the jack there, and it confused me as to why it wasn't seating in. I knew it was supposed to twist in, I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that. But eventually I did figure it out, the pad has to come out, and all was well. Before I drop it down on this side, any obvious damage? Not seeing any, doesn't mean the leak isn't there, but I've confirmed that I don't have a broken or bent wheel, so yay for that. Okay, so obviously to find those air bubbles, we're going to put some soap, just plain old dish soap. I went to the dollar store and got a clearance bottle for the shop, and mix it up, and we're going to spray it all over after we shake it up a bit. But first, I need to put air in the tire so that it can actually make those air bubbles. So let's do that. What I should have said is put more air in the tires, because the little 8 psi that I used to get to the shop isn't going to be quite enough for this. I wanted so hard to shoot this entire video all by myself, and I was somewhat successful. But this is when Kenneth walked up, and he honestly did not know what I was doing or what I was up to. He stayed out of it as much as he could. He did offer a helping hand here and there, but this was meant to be my own video. All right, that's 18 pounds of air, so that should be enough for us to make sure that nothing else is leaking. I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing hissing. Anything like that. So I not only want to check this, I also want to check the surface of the tire, but I more suspect it's the beadlocks, so I'm going to start with the beadlocks first. This side is obviously the more complicated side with all the bolts and valve stem, all that. So I'm actually going to flip it and start with the uncomplicated side first and rule that out. Flip accomplished. Now, got my water here. Just start spraying. No bubbles are seen, so it looks like this side is not the source of my leak. Okay, time to do the same to this side. Oh, I think I see something. Thought I did. Right here. It's not doing it now. We've let this sit now for a little bit just to really watch it, and nothing. There are no little tiny air bubbles forming either in the bolts. We filled the bolts with water, well, most of them, or along the wheel. So bizarre, because we really expected that. I expected it right there. Right there. Because I thought I was seeing for a little bit there that that was producing bubbles, but after watching it, it's not. So that leaves us really with two possibilities. We haven't done anything with the valve stem yet. That's like the easy button, and you know, it could be that one. And the tire itself. Maybe I've got something in here I just haven't seen yet. And I'll have to get one of my livestock water tanks out, and we'll fill it partially with water, put this in, and see if we can make some bubbles. But first, let's start with the valve stem. See those little bubbles? See if we can get back like this. There's my leak. So, valve core remover tool. Everyone should have one of these in their vehicle. And just put it in and twist. And all that air I've had in here to make sure that it would produce bubbles, now it's going to come out in a hurry. So I pulled it out with this, but this tool is actually a multifunction tool. This one also has the same end for removing the valve core, but it has some additional ends. They are used for cleaning the valve stem here so that you can make sure that no dust, dirt, any of that is in place when you go to install your new valve core. So this one cleans the outer threads to make sure that there's no dust and debris. And you simply screw it on. Important, don't cross-thread it. If it doesn't go on this easily, you probably have it cross-threaded. Go to the end and run it back. And that's all you need to do to clean it. Easily done in the field too. And once it comes off, then we'll need to clean the inner threads. And that would be one of these two ends. Now, if I choose the smaller one, it just slides right in. It doesn't fit. So I know that that one is the end that I need. And again, it's really important here not to cross thread. So go slow, and remember it should turn very easily. If you get resistance, that means it's probably cross threaded. Go to the end and then come on back out. So that means my threads are now clean and clear for the new valve core. The old valve core doesn't actually look that bad. There is some gunk on it, so that's the old one, and the one up here is the new one, the shinier one. It's got some gunk in it in places. So yeah, it very easily could have been allowing air to slip through in that area. So this is why you always want to make sure that you're carrying valve cores in your tire kit on your rig, is because it's just really easy for that to come in. It's also why, and I'm the worst one about this, make sure you put your valve core caps on, because that's how you're going to keep these things clean and keep them from having this particular problem. I am horrible about remembering to put those silly caps on, but that's probably why this happened, is I forgot. So I'm going to put the old one aside, and it just fits in like so. Little stem here goes inside the tool, and it just saddles right on, and you push it in and just twist it in. And just very gentle. You don't want to break. I mean, look at how small some of these architectures are. You could easily twist that in a bad way. So just light finger pressure. Don't think you have to torque it really tight here, but you do want it to be nice and snug. From here, we need to put more air in it and spray it again and make sure we solved our problem. 30 pounds of air this time. And now we're going to spray it, make sure it's good. And it's not. All right, well, that one is clearly worse. So we're going to try another valve core, because maybe that valve core was bad. But there's also the possibility that I've broken the stem here, right? I'm hoping not. But, I mean, if I tighten it just a little bit, maybe I didn't get it all the way in. Oh, hey, that looks a lot better all of a sudden. So this could be a chronic problem, maybe. I use the deflator style that removes the valve stem, valve core. I always say it wrong. And that means every single time I do this, I'm going to have to make sure that I get it all the way in, or I could wind up with a flat on the trail or after the trail on the way home if I'm not trailering her. To combat this, I have a spray bottle in my air tools bag. Now, other things I carry in here, bug spray, sunscreen, but this is specifically for spraying on the things. It has the soapy water, and it lets me make sure before I take off that I've got that valve core in all the way. All right, so we think we've got the valve core problem solved. Now it's time to get this bad boy back onto Penny. Watch it overnight. I'll check it again tomorrow. Make sure that the pressure there is the same as the pressure is today, that it's holding. And if so, she's ready to go wheeling this weekend. So this wheel and tire combo is well into the mid 100 pounds. What I'm using here is what's called a cat's paw. It's a demolition tool. And then I've put a glove on it, and I'm using it as a lever to help lift it onto the wheel studs. That is a lot easier than physically manhandling it. Plus it lets me look at the alignment of the lugs onto the wheel studs and make sure that I can get it lined up properly. Camera operator failure here, but yes, I did torque all of the lug nuts down. Never ever forget this thing. Ready to go.